Teacher of the Year works very closely with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. One of the most enjoyable aspects of this is the opportunity to watch terrific teachers become advocates for the entire teaching profession. This year has been particularly special for me to watch Miss Beth Davey, an outstanding teacher, also become a truly inspiring advocate for the teaching profession and an impressive representative for the state of Missouri. Please welcome to the stage Miss Beth Davey, our Missouri's 2018 Missouri State Teacher of the Year.
Good evening. I have a confession to make. I am a highly sentimental person, born to two very sentimental parents and raised in the rather sentimental town of Cape Girardeau, Missouri. My father, in particular, reveals his sentimental spirit through group family texts. And when he reveals it, it's a strange poetry that he puts forth. So I'm going to read you a few of the texts that he's sent me over even just the past couple of weeks. One I got a few weeks ago said, "I am confident that we all yearn to share the presence of your friendship." Okay. Here's another one in reference to a recent Cardinals game, a poem, I'm imagining. It is winner and full game, big home run, lost child, fireworks, fun. Thank you for the tickets. I love my dad. And sometimes he does a little bit of extra research on ancient hard drives he finds around the house, and he finds these little photographic gems that he likes to send to us. So he sent me one last week that was captioned, "Manifest Imagination." It was a picture of me leaping into the air on the trampoline with a face a little bit like this. The picture is pretty funny to me, first of all, because it's clear that even at that age, I saw I was being photographed and so then had to perform a little bit. But it's really my dad's spirit that I love about that picture, that he took time to watch his very strange, very silly 7-year-old daughter play, and that he knew that that snapshot could one day be even a strange sentiment. This past year of my life has felt much like that picture. Maybe not for the growl, but for a variety of reasons. Learning to smile, yes, at whatever camera is about to flash, particularly because most of the pictures now of me on the internet are mid-speech looking a little bit like this. But also in purpose, for I have felt many times the snapshots of this role of this year will echo in my life for years to come, not merely as memory, but of the foundation for wherever this road will take me. Serving as your 2018 Missouri Teacher of the Year has truly been the honor of my life. It is a strange role, combining motivational speaker with unelected politician, with impromptu public speaker to supposed practicing expert. The title itself is terrifying, Teacher of the Year. So my mentor and 2017 Missouri Teacher of the Year, Darby Valenti, helped me to grasp the role early on. She shared with me that my job was not to defend myself as a quality educator, but to advocate for the sake of all of the wonderful teachers, students, and stakeholders that I came into contact with. And I agree with her, because I am by no means the best teacher in the state, nor the best teacher in the St. Louis region, nor the best teacher in the Rittner School District, and definitely not even the best teacher in my hallway. I was strangely gifted with this wild opportunity to share stories and to ask questions of our communities. And the growth that this platform has fostered has truly been refining. I know that Shelley just made you stand up, but I'm going to do it again, because I know that here in this space, there are not just the people who are being recognized tonight or our former Teachers of the Year, but so many of you who are involved with and have tendrils within public education. If you are currently, anyone in the room, a public school educator in the state of Missouri or a retired public school educator, will you please stand and be recognized? That's a pretty good majority in this space. It goes back to that interconnectedness of how we raise up new teachers. Teaching is centered around the structures that we have put in place, like age levels and content areas. We assess, we give feedback, we engage through a variety of instructional techniques, and we differentiate for all the learners in our classrooms because we believe that they are deserving of the empowerment that knowledge and application can give. And yet our profession is so much more than just content. This is something that every teacher in this room knows, as evidenced by the fact that you are here. It is because we believe in a reality that we have powerful voices and powerful stories to influence our schools, community, and global society because of the power in the young people that we teach. So I've seen the world changers this year. I've always marveled at powerful stories, but I will tell you in complete honesty that I have struggled with believing that my voice and these stories are even worth hearing. Just as our students need reminding, need empowering toward their personal power, so do we as adults. In January, I had the opportunity to go to Google headquarters in San Francisco for an intense advocacy training where I met my tribe of beautiful human beings, the other 54 state teachers of the year. And yes, 54, we include some territories as well. These human beings who are beautiful because through empathy and fearlessness, they advocate for public education because they believe in the young people that they teach. They reminded me of the source of my power as a teacher, the power of this voice, because of the power within those who I teach and of the power of each day in front of those students. A few months later, I had the chance to travel to Washington, D.C. for a week, for the first of a few trips in which I learned to advocate at the federal level. We started the week by meeting with Secretary Betsy DeVos, and for the sake of diplomacy, I will not go into full description of the meeting, but I will tell you that for all of the theatrical training I've had in my life, my face could not mask all that I was feeling. But I am grateful to have had that conversation at the Department of Education. That conversation, along with several meetings with our Missouri representatives and senatorial staff, a luncheon with the vice president, and a resulting very long conversation with Mrs. Karen Pence. And yes, entering through the front doors of the White House. All of those taught me the power of conversations and the power of bridge building. And building bridges is such hard work, but it is so incredibly necessary. As has been alluded to this evening, it has been a very full year. My tenure as Missouri Teacher of the Year has seen a great deal of change in consciousness surrounding education in our entire country. Teachers have risen up to advocate for their rights and for their students' rights. Educators are running for office. It's been a time of a lot of shifting here in the United States. But it's also been a time of turmoil. In the past year, we have seen an unprecedented number of school shootings, an ever-widening performance gap, a continued trend toward the resegregation of public schools, and the acidity of divisive politics. But within that turmoil, it has also been a year in which we have seen nationally teachers using their voices to advocate, yes, for their own working conditions and well-being, but mostly for the students that they treasure and that they teach. We have seen a year in which students themselves have used their voices, their power, for what they would like to see in our country. And around our state, I have seen many stunning examples of learning. I have seen leaders step in to fill gaps, even as we as a state have experienced a lot of turmoil ourselves. And I've heard countless stories about the magic and the power of public education in Missouri. There are teachers who are leading this charge. Teachers like Julie Ellis in Montgomery County, R2, who uses literature as a pathway to humanity with her high school English students. Teachers like Amber Gallagher, whose passion for her kindergarten learners is revealed in even the briefest conversation with her. Teachers like Elizabeth Hart, who believes that learners of all abilities are capable of exceeding expectations. Teachers like Jean Lawson, whose fearless advocacy for her students is evident in everything she does. Teachers like Tobin Schultz, who raises up his high school business students as community leaders. Teachers like Rhett Oldham, who relentlessly pursues global connections in St. Genevieve, and teachers like Miss Shelley Parks, who deeply loves her students and her school community. Ready to raise up the next generation of teachers who will do the same. Shelley, dear Shelley, you have a precious weight and a blessed burden to share your truth and to be yourself. Remember that the amount of change that you wish to impart in the world is directly proportional to the amount of well-being within yourself. Seek respite, take care, and know that you are not alone. None of you are. We're all in this as a team. You know, I've been asked often over the past few weeks and months, how does it feel to be done? You've passed off all of your duties as teacher of the year. And I've got to tell you that my response has been the same every time. I'm not done. I can't be done because I will continue to use my voice, though the years will change and it will no longer be 2018, because I will not waste this incredible gift that I have been given, nor the training that I have received, nor the relationships that have been brought into my life because of it. Because I know that within education right now, the status quo, or what might be perceived as that, is not enough. And that's why there are people here in this room, people who are pushing against a perceived status quo. I will continue to push. As long as opportunity gaps prevail, as long as children in our country are hungry, as long as racial injustice persists, and as long as political divides threaten our democracy. Because I believe that each child deserves a well-rounded education, holistic in its services, including the arts, that is community-oriented and fueled by respected teachers, that every child, regardless of their community's property value or their zip code, regardless and inclusive of their race and class and family income and orientation or religion or disability or language or gender or national origin, that every student deserves to be advocated for their right to an equitable education, so that we can protect those who deserve protecting, to give voice to the voiceless, to share compassion that blankets our communities with an overwhelming sense of purpose, and to empower the next generation of innovators and leaders and artists and engineers and dreamers and teachers. I will continue, So I will continue to use my voice to encourage bridge-building conversation, connection, and empathy. I would like to thank my incredible coworkers at Iveland Elementary in the Rittner School District, who have stepped in to fill the gap so many times as I've been gone, as I've been fulfilling concurrently the role of Missouri Teacher of the Year and music teacher to my 550 babies. I'd like to thank our corporate sponsors of Boeing and Bayer and so many others who have publicly stated that they care about public education, that they see the longevity of purpose in what we do every single day. To all of the members here tonight and those who could not make it of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, you used to be the big man in the high tower, and now I'm seeing how much you deeply care about young people. Thank you for your persistence. To those in the Office of Educator Quality, including Dr. Katnick, Linda Dooling, Nicole Myers, you have been so precious to me as guides in my exploration and in my failures. And when I get too excited, you help me bring me back down, which is nice. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Dorson. You have stepped in with beauty into this role, and you are leading us well. I'd like to thank our Missouri State Board of Education members, led by President Shields. Thank you so much for your continued dedication to students. Thank you for putting them first, because they deserve it. So Missouri, let's move forward so that each individual experiences dignity and value and worth, that each student knows their power to contribute socially to their communities, economically, through justice, mercy, empathy, and connectedness. How are we going to do that? Well, all of our actions are completely interwoven, and the melodies of our lives layer to create the masterworks of our communities. Through our public schools, we sing. Teachers, you are more than just noble or servant leaders. You are the foundation of this democracy. Keep pushing, keep teaching, and keep loving. And Missouri, from the very core of my being, thank you.